Hey everybody, Stu Smith here going live, taking some questions, giving some answers, looking for article topics. If you have something that, a question that can be expanded upon, always looking for good article topics. So let me know if you got one. Probably have written about it already, but I can always write about it again in a different way. So happy to do that. Um, Let's see. So we'll do some CSS critiques as well. Let me move stuff over here. Do some CSS critiques as well today. I got three good ones. I got one long one that you can just sit and watch because it's just about perfect. Did 4 laps at 45 seconds. So 3 minute 200. Yeah, he actually did a 730 CSS with like 4 or 5 strokes per link. So smooth as fast, very efficient. And we'll show that one here in a few minutes after we get some questions going. So if you do have some, send them. I will share a few things that we are doing here this week. We are in our calisthenics and cardio cycle right now, and crushing that actually. In fact, I will explain what we are doing in article format because it is a recent article that I wrote. I'll put it right here in the chat, and it is basically how what we are doing this year and what we did last year compares to previous spring training cycles, because there's two different ways to do it. Well, in my world, right? Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to get our cardio better with running, swimming, rucking. We're also trying to get our muscle stamina better with calisthenics, but we're also trying to maintain some strength from previous lift cycle that we did during the winter. So if you're coming into this game with a strength background, this cycle's perfect for you because all we're really doing now is focusing on your endurance and muscle stamina, which is typically weak for those of you who are coming from a strength background. But we're trying to maintain some of the strength numbers with what we're doing, a 3-to-1 block periodization model again. So we're doing 3 weeks of calisthenics and cardio, followed by 1 week of strength with a deload of running every fourth week. Basically, if we're at 20 miles a week, we'll probably drop to 10 or 12 miles a week, just that 1 week, and then pick back up where we left off and start progressing for the next 3 weeks again. Um, let's see. Don't have any questions yet, it appears. If you do have questions, just send them. I'm going live here on YouTube and my Stu Smith Tactical Fitness Facebook group and Stu Smith Fitness page as well. So if you're on those platforms, send me a question. If you don't have a question, no big deal. If for some reason you can't hear me, which I thought I did a good, well, if you can't hear me, it doesn't really matter. I'll probably hear somebody say, I can't hear you. Um, all right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go straight into a CSS critique and talk about this. All right. So here's what's going on. We have a kick off the wall, goes right into this. Now, notice what happens here. Anytime you go this far up out of the water, you quit moving forward. And now you're just going up and down. So it halts any horizontal movement because now you're going up and down. right? So your momentum pretty much stops. Watch when he does it. So he pops his head up. He's got a decent kick for a little breaststroke kick, but he could be a lot more streamlined. And if he didn't pop his head up and he just turned to breathe like he's doing freestyle, then he'd have a really good, um, a better glide. I noticed that too. See, this is a little thing, but notice the two hands side by side there versus one hand being on top, biceps on your ears. That makes a big difference as well with your gliding ability. Double arm pulls, okay. The transition's a little weak into the stroke. This side's a little bit better than his other side, but you can see there's a lot of strokes going on here. Like if you notice, there's no glide really. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. He's just constantly stroking. So let's count those strokes because I'm going to show you another one here in a second. You're going to tell me which one's better. There's 2 breaths, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I thought he was double digits. That's 10. Might even missed one. So that's a lot of strokes. So he is. So Adriano says, "I see you're in the pool. Please, yeah. What we're doing is just did some CSS critiques there, going live. We'll do a few more. So I'm looking for questions. If you guys have them, we will move along. If you don't, I actually have something to speak about. And it's our training cycle that we're doing right now. This right here is our spring training cycle. And I called it Get To and Through Selection because this is really focused on maintaining all those elements of fitness. It's a very advanced program. There's no real beginner section to this as this one has. This, if you're a beginner, this is a really good one. However, it also has an intermediate and advanced progression to it as well. So a lot of people are starting off with this if they haven't done anything over the winter and they need to get moving. This is a great program to start off with. However, if you've just gotten through a winter lift cycle and you're trying to maintain your gains, but also you need to work on some swimming and running and calisthenics, this is that cycle. And it's that 3-to-1 block periodization that I posted in the comment section above. 3 weeks of calisthenics and cardio progression, 1 week of running deload with some lifting in there just for maintenance phase. Pull back a little bit on the reps, add some weight vests, things like that. And yeah, it worked really well last year, just as the winter lift cycle worked real well in reverse, where we did 3 weeks of strength and 1 week of calisthenics and cardio as a kind of a lifting deload cycle. So yeah, that's kind of the new block periodization model we're doing. Not that the other ones weren't good too. The way we modeled the previous cycles were we'd go through a 12, 13 week spring, summer cycle, I guess spring cycle of a progression. And then you just added some supplemental lifts in there, every other day or a couple days a week, just to maintain your strength during the running progression. If you needed to take a deload, then you would just take a deload. These have them already built in, so it's a little more specific in when to take the deloads versus just testing how you're feeling. Yeah, we're gonna do another swim here. Drone Monkey, thanks for coming in. Like to see me sit underwater, please. Okay, Adriano, man, this is not what we do. So we're gonna swim here in a minute. All right, so let's see. Hello, Stu. What would be your go-to core exercises, including lower back, including sets and reps to prep for selection using body weight? Thanks. Good question. Um, I mean, anytime you're lifting things off the ground, you are working your core. So deadlifts work real well, hang cleans work real well, farmer walks work really well. Something I like to do is farmer walks with one dumbbell in my hand, and I would just change them as my grip gave out. I would do that up and down a flight of stairs. I would go for 100 yards with one grip, turn around, come back 100 yards with the other grip. That's really tough. So it's not only core, it's grip work as well. Hanging knee ups, kind of like if you're going for army selection, you need to be doing leg tucks anyway. So leg tuck, hanging knee ups. I also would recommend flutter kicks, leg levers, scissors. Flip it over, do some swimmers, plank poses. There's an exercise we do called death by push ups, where it's simply a 10-minute plank, but you do 10 push ups every minute on the minute. We are advancing that this next weekend, and we're going to do a kind of a death by bear crawl. So if you think about a plank and a bear crawl is nothing more than a dynamic plank pose. Okay, so what we're doing with the bear crawl is we're going to bear crawl for 20 minutes, but every minute on the minute, you can stop and you do 10 push ups. That's a butt kicker. So we're going to test that out, see how that feels. We'll see if we can go for 20 minutes. We may wind up stopping and doing some pull ups just to loosen up our shoulders every time we pass the pull up bar, which is probably like every 50 yards. So anyway, yeah, that's what I would work on. You're going to be doing a lot of chest carry lunges. So get a sandbag out here and do some lunges. You're going to feel that in your lower back. You're going to feel it in your legs. That's what I would do. And that's what, most of my training programs have in there as well. Any specific workouts to help the kick in the CSS? Yes, you need to go to my swimming TikTok page. In fact, I have a TikTok page. It's the probably over 100 different videos on there now. And there's one in there that is a kickboard drill. In fact, I might even have might even have an article on it as well. In fact, it's right here. In fact, I'm going to share this with you. Let me see if I can get the link. Copy the link here. All right, so I'm going to put this into the comment section. And this is a TikTok page that has a kickboard drill on it. And the way it works is you're just going to lay on one side, get the kickboard under this arm, just lay on your side. Don't even move this arm, just keep it on your hips. One kick, hold the glide. See if you can hold it for 2 or 3 Mississippis. One kick, hold the glide. Glide, glide, glide. Do it for 25 meters, one length across the pool. Then swim 50 without it. And that set is done. You're going to repeat that cycle 10 times. So at 750 yards, 250 with a kickboard, 500 without. So you do a 25-yard set with the kickboard, 50-yard set without it. Grab it every lap, do another 25. So it's a 75-yard set for 10 sets. That works really well. That's what I'd highly recommend. Let's see. In my 50s now. Me too. Welcome to the club. Given midsection, fat, big belly. Going from tactical operator. So far from a tactical operator, I'd like to get back into shape. What can you offer? Well, if you want a program, generic program, this is what I have. Now, I also have more personalized approach, if you go to stewsmithfitness.com, you'll see an online coaching program there. Believe it or not, most of those people on that online coaching program are 40 and over. I got some 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds, even 70-year-olds on there that are just trying to get back in shape, lose 100 pounds. Um, but I also have some hardcore athletes too in their 50s that are still competing in masters programs and even like masters Olympics stuff. So, but I also get some young guys too that are preparing for selection as well. So it's a big mix of folks in there, and I work with all types. Um, let's see here. A couple more questions before we'll go to the next CSS. Someone who's 13 years old and wants to join my country's SF program. Do you have any tips? I'll be honest with you, man. Just go play sports. At 13 years old, go learn to be a good team player, play sports, run some extra. You're probably a little too young to be doing Goggins style workouts. His are really tough, and they're bordering on mental toughness training than they are like sound progressions. So there's a place for it. I think he's doing a great job for turning soft people into hard people. So not knocking what he does, but as a 13-year-old, you should probably progress a little smarter. And because the last thing you want to do is just run. You're really susceptible to shin splints when you're that young, and overuse injuries. So go play some sports. Play a sport every season, right? And build up some strength and some endurance, and learn how to be a good team player, because all that matters when you join the military. Then when you're 16, 17, 18, then you can start training a little more specific for some, military jobs. Don't be in a rush, man. Go be a kid. Have fun. Good question, though. Could you review a CSS with fins? I've started incorporating finning. Referenced an old video of yours to point me in the right direction. Yes, in fact, funny you should say that, because I'm about to do that. So my next swim, let me see here. Let me see if I can pop this up here. All right, so let me share this with you. This next one is actually with fins. It's not great. He's doing some things wrong where I want you to realize you got to kick more from your hips versus bending your knees like a bicycle. So if you ever feel like you're bicycling when you've got these big pair of fins on, you're not doing it right. So if you notice, kicks off the wall, that's fine. Do a little kicks, go underwater, get some momentum going. And if you notice here, there's a whole lot of knee bending going on. And look at the fins aren't really doing a whole lot, just kind of chopping up the water. It's faster than without fins, but he's really bending his knees way too much. So this is what I call bicycling. And what you have to do is not necessarily straighten your knees, but don't bend them that much. And it's all from the hips. So if you want to practice this, lay on your back, put a pair of fins on, and just do flutter kicks, 4-count flutter kicks, because that is basically how you're going to do it. And you should feel this in your hips versus in your knees, right? You're also going to feel it in your ankles, because you got to work your ankle mobility as well. Something I recommended this guy to do is actually get some smaller fins, because he's not ready for these fins yet, right? Because he couldn't really pull from his hips very well. So learn how to do this with a smaller pair of fins that you don't have to bicycle as much. You can actually practice the bigger scissor kicks, or medium-sized flutter kicks is probably a better way to explain it. So that's how you do it. Well, I should say that's how you don't do it in video, but that's how you do it with how I explained it. It's all from the hips, slight knee bend, all from the hips. So I hope that was good timing for you. All right, so let's see. Good morning, Stu. Been swimming with rocket fins. So timely question again. For a mile, 1,800 yards in the pool, what's good times to be swimming 1 and 2 miles with fins? Okay, good question. My recommendation is to have people swim roughly at that same pace that they can swim without a pair of fins. So I always try to get people at that yard per second uh, pace. So with fins, that's not that hard to do. It might be hard to maintain it at first. So if you're doing 1,000 yards, that's a 1640. If you're doing 1,500 yards, that's going to be another 8 minutes and 20 seconds added to that. So what's that? 25 minutes. So 1,800 yards. If you can keep your 1,800 yards below 30 minutes, that's really good. And if you can do 2 miles between 60 and 70 minutes, that's really good as well. Because at Buds, when you're taking these 2 mile swims, you're going to have 85 minutes in first phase, 80 minutes in second phase, and 75 minutes in third phase to finish these 2 mile swims. Most of the fast guys in the class were 1 hour flat. Some even broke an hour, maybe even did it in 55 minutes. You can do that too. So just know that if you're in the 60s, you're solid. So I always just tried to be in the 60s. And if you can show up there and hit a 60, 65 minute 2 mile swim, you're going to be in the top 10 swim pairs that finishes first, that are all showered up before the last guys even come across the finish line. And you'll be ready to go for the next evolution, while they're going to probably get beat for either failing or being last. So that matters. It didn't let me share that TikTok thing, but let me do this. I'm gonna try one more time. Let's see, Chrome tab, TikTok. All right, so this is that kickboard drill I was telling you about. He's just on his side doing a big scissor kick, hold the glide. So we're trying to work on his without fins scissor kicking. But yeah, this is my TikTok. If you notice, Stu Smith 50 is my address over there at TikTok. That's the same one as I do on Instagram as well. Sometimes I'll post these on Instagram too. In fact, maybe I'll do that today just to give people an idea of this little kickboard drill, because I've had several questions this week on fixing kicks. And this is how I do it. Do a 25 yards with a kickboard, and then leave the kickboard on the other end, swim 50 meters without it. Did you guys see that? I hope you guys saw that. If you didn't, I'll post it up there again. I thought it was shared. Couldn't tell. All right. Let's see. Grappling is a good idea, Vlad. I think wrestling is a great sport for young people. Running, soccer or football, wherever you're from, probably called. If you have other, challenging sports, I would do that as well. Track might be a good one. Swimming, obviously, swimming's a good one unless you're you can't do that, or you don't really need to because your special forces group's really more land based. All right. When following the intermediate workout, do I replace sit-ups to plank due to the new changes in the Navy PST? Yeah, if you want to. You're not sure which intermediate workout you're talking about. I'm assuming that might be the Navy SEAL one. If you're ever going to take a PST in the Navy for SEAL, diver, SWIC, you're still doing sit-ups. However, if you're taking just the regular Navy one, yes, you should practice plank poses. I personally recommend doing both. So, just because if eventually if you want to transition out of regular Navy stuff, you're going to have to take a test that probably has sit-ups in them, pull-ups as well. So, um, you know, do both and balance out your core a little better. So put it this way, anytime I do sit-ups, I'm balancing out with a plank pose. So almost rep for time. So let's say I do, I don't know, 120 sit-ups in a workout. That means I owe a 2-minute plank as well, at least, to just kind of balance that out. Just an idea for you. Noah says, just a quick thanks for a lightweight shoulder workout. That really helped one of my shoulders sit better in the socket. That's good. I learned that from a physical therapist. So these are nothing that I really created. I just put them into all of my upper body workouts for the last 20 years. And they've been very helpful. I just put a link into the um, comment section there on that lightweight shoulder workout. It's really nothing more than a 5-pound dumbbell. And if that's hard, just do 3-pound dumbbells. And you do a series of lateral raises and front raises and crossovers and military press. And you'll be surprised at how tired your shoulders get in a quick little circuit like that. Tell you what, let me share one more video with you. This one is one of my favorites of the week just because he did so well. Let me share this video. Dang it. That's not how you do it. Share my screen and the window, and we'll go here. Oh, don't tell me I didn't do it right. Maybe it's the last one. I think I see what I did. All right, let me try this again. Share my screen. Boom. All right, so this is one of our guys, trains with us, really good swimmer. He recently was just warming up, and this was his 500-yard warm-up. And I just happened to be filming it while I was waiting for some other guys to me to teach. And I wound up filming 200 yards of him swimming, which was he did 200 yards in 3 minutes. So if you do the math on that, that's 45-second laps. That's a 130, 100, and that was a 3-minute 200. He maintained that pace the whole time, and he had a 730, 725, I think it was, for a 500-yard swim warm up. So then he did his workout. So he crushed this thing. And the reason why is he's so efficient. You see that? There's 2 strokes, 3 strokes, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3, boom, 4 strokes. So yeah, I think he does every one of these in like 5 strokes. And it's fast. Every one of these 45-second laps, 5 strokes, super efficient, very easy to maintain this level of work. Because slow is fast. I mean, he's not wasting a lot of energy like the other guy did 10 strokes to get across the pool and was popping his head up so much and losing forward momentum by going up. This is just really smooth. And he can do just as well with fins too. So he's really good in the water. And notice it comes down to two things. Comes down to a strong kick and a near perfect glide position. If you notice, his biceps are on his ears, his head's tucked, one hand's on top of the other. You know, it looks like a torpedo in the water. And people were like posting that he looks really tall, and he's actually just 6 feet tall. I mean, that's not short. He says he's 5'10", but he's about the same height as I am. Maybe I'm not 6 feet anymore. But anyway, he has long arms. So I think that is what's a little deceiving in this video. People were saying he's just fast because he's tall. And let me tell you something. I've seen short people swim fast too. We have a dude that was 5'6", 5'7", that crushed sub-8 easily. Just a little bit different. In fact, if you Google short people can swim fast, you might find some very interesting information on how to do it if you're a shorter swimmer. I even did a video on it on YouTube way back when, back before Instagram and Facebook. And it's called Short People Can Swim Fast Too. And you should check it out if you're short and making excuses for yourself why you can't swim fast. All right. So we're moving right along here. That's a pretty good CSS, huh? My suggestion, you know what? I'll wind up posting that this week. I haven't posted that yet, but I'll probably post it up on the TikTok page. In fact, if you're not familiar that I actually have a TikTok page, it's on TikTok, and it's the same address as my Instagram, StuSmith50. So we have any more questions? Comments? Looking for some comments that maybe a good question to write about. I've already written about the teenage wanting to join special ops and how should they train, Vlad. So Google that question. Teenage preparing for special ops, Stu Smith. Google that and you'll find an article on it, and it's all about what I told you basically. Is just learn how to be a good team player, stay out of trouble, and work on your weaknesses during the off seasons, thing like that. Finn, what's up? What made you want to be a SEAL? Good question. When I originally joined the Navy, now I did a different route than most people. Went to the Naval Academy in Annapolis, so 4 years of college, and you become a naval officer when you graduate. My original plan was to become a pilot out of the Naval Academy. And throughout my time there, you get exposed to all the different jobs that you can do when you're a naval officer. So I spent time on surface ships, I spent time in submarines and on planes and helicopters. Even had exposure to Navy SEALs who would run workouts on the yard, and Marines who would do the same. And I just slowly started evolving towards doing the harder option. Not sure why. Originally, I was kind of considering Marine Corps. Decided not to. No, for no particular reason. I think we had some great Marines in our class and some great Marine mentors. I really liked their senior enlisted. They were really squared away, very helpful for us young, stupid midshipmen. However, I found the SEALs fascinating, and I wound up making that as a decision about sophomore year, I said, you know what? I think I want to do this. Kind of hemmed and hawed between Marine helicopter pilot for a little bit and Navy SEAL. And then I said, you know what? If I'm going to make a decision, I need to make a decision. And wound up deciding to go SEAL. Why? Not sure. Right? It was one of those things that I really wanted to do. Um, and I really wanted to find a way to serve and still be very physically active. I played rugby at the Naval Academy, tried to play football. So I like the idea of the team mentality, a very physical team. And those challenges that were put in front of me, considering SEAL training, were something I wanted to do. I wanted to serve in that particular way, given my all, as best I can. So that's kind of why I went that way. And it took me a couple of years just to turn myself into a good candidate. That's why I tell young people, don't be in a hurry to join, because chances are your high school activities did not prepare you for what you're about to endure. And unfortunately, many of them don't listen, or they've never heard me say it. And they are a major part of the attrition rate every SEAL class. In fact, I think this last class started with what, over 140 or 150 people, and they're in Hell Week right now, and they're down to like 15 or 16. And most of those are not teenagers. Most of them on day one were teenagers. So I just have a big statistical problem with majority of the attrition rate being teenagers. Just the way it is. So if you don't believe in statistics, then take your chances. Chances are you will not be a graduate of SEAL training if you start at 18 years old. However, I am proven wrong every class, because there's a handful of 18, 19-year-olds that actually make it through every SEAL class. So, but they're rare, and they are exceptional humans. Something in their history made them able to do that. Um, Maybe they worked all their life. Maybe they were gifted athlete. They finished growing at 18. They were early bloomers. Because if you're still growing and you're trying to go through SEAL training, that's hard, because you're not as strong as a man. It's kind of like, think about it. If you're going to play D1 college sport and you're a freshman, chances are you're not going to make the team. You might even be redshirted, right? Because there's a difference between 18 and 22, 23, right? It's a boy and a man. That's the difference. Um, I've mentioned that countless times. If you've heard me say it countless times, I apologize, but I'm always just trying to be truthful to people who are considering it, and um, just be prepared when you go, and there's no rush to do it when you're a teenager. All right, how do your relationships at home get affected by your service? Um, I think with any service, you're going to be gone significantly. In the SEAL teams, it was about 9 months a year. I was not at my house. So my girlfriend, fiance, wife at the time, um, she was busy too, though. I mean, in fairness, she was working full time and going to school at night. So that worked for her and me, because she probably wouldn't have had time enough for me anyway, and she could focus on what she was doing. Um, and then we catch up, long weekends, things like that. Um, But yeah, it's tough. It's tough on the families, whether it's your parents and siblings or it's your spouse or kids. I didn't have any kids when I was in the teams, so that made it a little bit easier. I did get married when I was fourth year in the teams, and I was gone 9 months. My during the engagement, I was gone 9 months. First year of marriage, just the way it was. Just sucked. It's tough. It's tough. It's a lot of sacrifices, and I honor the commitment people have to be able to stay in there for 20 plus years and do that job, because it's hard on you, it's hard on your family, and there's some sacrifices that have to be made. And I personally didn't have that level of commitment, to be honest with you. I only did 8 years in the Navy, and looking at 20, just as my first child was born, in 1997, 98. That was a little daunting for me, and it was probably one of my biggest decisions on getting out. So there you go. Hardest obstacle at Buds. It depends. Um, if you're scared of heights, you're probably gonna not like the slide for life and the cargo net. If you have a hard time balancing, there's some balance logs that are long and big issue. If you're short, the dirty name is killer, um, on short people, because it is a leap of faith to get that second log, on your belly. Definitely tough. Let's see. Vlad asks another question. Whenever I go swimming, I go freestyle. I lose my breathing pace, and the time that I'm so out of water. What should I do? There's an article I wrote called "Dude, You Are Not in Swimming Shape." So you need to learn a little bit better technique. In fact, I'm going to put this here for you, Vlad. You need to learn some better technique on your swimming, so you turn to inhale versus turn to swallow water. And you need to get in better shape swimming. That means you're going to have to swim more. So you're young, maybe consider being on a swim team and actually learn how to swim. That's something I didn't do, but I wish I had, just to make that learning process a little bit easier. I grew up in Florida and I swam all my life, but not, there's a big difference between swimming laps at a swim team and playing Marco Polo in your backyard pool. But I was in the pool, getting comfortable in the water for sure. Any upcoming podcasts? You know what? I lost my voice last week and hadn't felt 100% with speaking. This is one of my first times able to speak, because I kind of came back the other day, but I'm trying to get back into making some podcasts. I have a couple of meetings going on. Looks like I might be able to squeeze in a podcast. I'll try to get Lieutenant Behringer on again, Lieutenant Colonel Behringer on again. In fact, we are working on a book project together, so we will be talking about that as well, and it's going to be based on just overall making yourself more durable, whether that is from a nutrition standpoint, injury prevention standpoint, flexibility, mobility, training systems that help you not get injured, um, and just general longevity. So it's going to be geared more towards the older athlete. But basically, it's the same stuff that a younger athlete can do, and have a little more focused performance as well. Jeff Nichols, yeah, we're working on doing something together. He's been busy. I've been kind of busy as well. but we were just talking last week. So hopefully we can get our schedules on the same time. Is there any moments in your service where you started thinking seriously about post-service plans, or did you have a plan? I didn't really have a plan, but yes, I mean, you spend a lot of downtime thinking about, do I want to stay in here for 20? If I did get out, what would I do? Um, so I'm doing my goals in life right now. So you see it. I am working out and writing about it and speaking about it. And it is very fulfilling. I enjoy it quite a bit. Work from my home, see my family every day. Can't beat it. So, how smart do you need to be to go SF? Do you need to know all kinds of formulas that they teach? Yeah, you should be a good student. I mean, there's a lot of things to learn. Can't just go in there and put it this way, you can't be a gorilla. Got to be a gorilla, right? So go in there and be smart, focus on your school. I mean, that's what your job is right now. You're a 13-year-old kid. You should be being focused on being a good student, playing sports, staying out of trouble. That's it. What else is there? Right? Helping people, stand up to bullies, all that stuff. Hey, I got to cut it a little bit short today. Um, So if you have any more questions and I did not answer them, just email me, and you can email me at stu@stewsmith.com, and you can also go to stewsmithfitness.com, use a compete 20 code, save 20% off anything, especially if you're thinking about getting started with a calisthenics and cardio cycle, which is a great thing to do in the spring. Get you outside, get some more vitamin D while you're working out. It's all good. You can also pump it up a notch and hit some spring training program too. And you can save 20% off those programs. All right, folks, I do need to go. Sorry, I got to cut it short. If I didn't get to your question, send it to me. Happy to answer it and maybe even write about it later. All right, folks, I will see you later.